when the world is in crisis
การแก้ไขปัญหาโควิดถือเป็นวาระแห่งชาติ
and people are looking for hope and answers. Thai PBS World is there with you with the best minds of the day. Join us on Thai PBS World tonight, every weekdays at 7 p.m. Thai PBS World, we bring Thailand to the world.
สวัสดีค่ะ Very good evening and welcome to our 7 o'clock news Thai PBS World Tonight. I am Natha Gomonwadin.
And good evening, I'm Thep Chai Yong. And today, another day of good news as far as the coronavirus pandemic is concerned. There is no single locally transmitted infection for the 30th straight day now.
Yes, so very good news indeed. 30 days without local transmission of COVID-19.
Yeah. But today, of course, it's a very important day as it is the anniversary of a historical event 88 years back. Because at dawn on this very day, back in 1932, Thailand went through her biggest political transformation from absolute monarchy to parliamentary democracy. Back then, a group of politicians and military men overthrew the government of King Prachatipok or Rama VII to usher in a new political era. It led to a nearly bloodless transition of Thailand known as ASEAN back then into a constitutional monarchy system of government and the country's first constitution. But Kunata, as we all know too well, the transition did not really bring about the kind of changes that people had expected. The country has been plagued by endless civilian military rivalry and countless number of military coups d'etats and political instability that last until these days.
Yeah, so it's 88 years of the country still in transition from the absolute monarchy to democracy, and it's 88 years of many difficulty for Thailand. But from the screen, you can see that in Bangkok, 30 to 40 demonstrators gather at the city's democracy monument and play a large screen video reenacting the speech made by People's Party leaders after they toppled the government of King Prachatipok. So that happened early today, Kun Thep Chai.
And one of the organizers of the event, Kun Anon Nampa, said the rally this morning was meant to remind Thai people of the historical transformation. We don't want it to be forgotten, he told journalists during the demonstration. The event lasted about 40 minutes under a watchful eye of dozens of policemen. Political activists have been using the 1932 revolt as a symbol in their campaign against the current Prayut government, which they see as a legacy of military dictatorship. Today, they repeated the demand for the current constitution to be made more democratic through amendments. And elsewhere in Thailand, Kunata, in many provinces, there were also pockets of demonstrations to commemorate this anniversary. And this is also one of the events in Ubon Ratchathani where students rally to commemorate the anniversary.
Yes. Elsewhere in Thailand, the protest happened in at least 12 provinces. We can see large public gatherings are banned during the coronavirus emergency, but authority did not block the demonstration. And in Khon Kaen, about 10 students from Khon Kaen University gathered to clean the area around the provincial democracy monument. But on the screen, this is what happened in Ubon Ratchathani province.
And in Bangkok, just an hour ago, there was a small rally by a handful of activists at the so-called Skywalk area at the Pathumwan intersection. And they were there to demand democracy and try to remind people of the significance of the 1932 revolt, whose ambitions they claim still has yet to be fulfilled.
Yes, and one of the leaders of the student is Parit Chiwarak. He is the student leader. His nickname is Penguin, and he's trying trying to call for democracy and read announcement of People's Party as well. And the police officer tried to disperse the protest by trying to say that this is during COVID-19 and they cannot gather in the public this way without wearing masks as well. But they grouped together for about 10 minutes and then they just separated.
A message from these protesters was that the current Prayut government is nothing but a puppet. But of course, they were not explicit as to what they meant by General Prayut being the puppet, right?
Yeah. And a core member of the group who asked not to be named said the activity was intended as a symbolic gesture on the anniversary of June 24th, 1932 revolution, especially to remind people of the new generation of the importance of democracy.
All right, so that's it. How the anniversary of the historical event is being commemorated today. Kunatha, let's go back to the COVID-19 related stories today. A lot of things have been going on. The so-called travel bubble idea is taking shape.
Yes.
And so the first batch of travelers coming to Thailand under this project is likely to come in the next few weeks.
Yes, probably in July that they will allow about 50,000 foreign visitors to visit Thailand, but they must be selected groups who are not foreign tourists in general, but are business people who like to attend meetings in Thailand, and they must be screened beforehand. But the list of travel bubbles which will have bilateral agreement with Thailand are not specified at this point.
Yeah. Okay, but let's wait and see how this will transpire. So as we know that Thailand has been highly praised for its impressive success in containing the spread of the coronavirus, and now the country is ready to contribute to worldwide efforts to help stem the spread of the virus in many other countries. And that's what happened yesterday. The cabinet approved a contribution of as much as $100,000 or about 3.1 million baht to contribute to a fund administered by the United Nations to help countries cope with the health crisis caused by the outbreak.
Yes, and that's a symbolic gesture of Thailand to try to contribute in terms of fighting COVID-19. And UN COVID-19 Response Fund, let's take a look what's the meaning of it. UN COVID-19 Response and Recovery Fund is a UN interagency fund mechanism established by UN Secretary General to help support low and middle income program countries to respond to the pandemic and its impacts. So that's where Thailand will contribute to UN COVID-19 fund. Objective of the fund is to tackle health emergency, focus on social impact, economic response and recovery, and help countries recover better. So it would be large contribution of Thailand to this fund, Kun Thepchai.
So according to the deputy spokeswoman, Kun Ratchada, the Thai ambassador to the United Nations will sign the agreement on the government's behalf. The contribution, she said, will be from the foreign ministry's budget for the current fiscal year. She said the Netherlands, Norway, and Denmark are among countries that have pledged to contribute to the fund. And the Kunatha said that this special UN fund is designed to fulfill 3 objectives as outlined in the plea by the UN Secretary General. That is to help tackle the health emergency, focus on the social impact and the economic response and recovery, and of course to help countries recover better. And mostly these countries are middle or low income countries that certainly need a lot of help from the international community.
Yes, so that's good sign for Thailand that Thailand is trying to show symbolic gesture, not only symbolic but in practice as well in contributing to UN COVID-19 fund to help the world fight with COVID-19. And today the new infection of COVID-19 in Thailand is only one case, and right now the country has been free from local transmission for 30 consecutive days. Very good news indeed. The one case in Thailand today is imported case from the Philippines. And it shows, Dr. Tawisin said that it shows the importance of Thai people power, which has kept the country free of the disease for 1 month. So that's good news.
Yeah, and this week the anti-COVID-19 center will be making a lot of decisions as to the next phase of the easing of the restriction, right, Kunata? And of course, the issue of the state of emergency will still be discussed.
Yeah.
And of course, Kunata, if despite the seriousness of the situation, the biggest story in the Thai media the past 1 week is not about the coronavirus pandemic
No.
or even about politics,
Yeah.
but it's about a former cabinet member who is also an ex-police officer who is serving jail term for falsifying share transfer documents in connection with the death of a property developer in 2015. And this is the scene from Monday. This is the scene that we have become familiar with Kun Banjin smiling and talking to reporters. But of course, the scene from Monday is different. This is what it is. When Kun Banjin Tang Pakorn, a former deputy commerce minister, was taken from the maximum security Bang Kwang Central Prison to a court hearing. What stood out was the presence of 24 heavily armed prison guards and police commandos. For a harmless prisoner like Banjin, the security that day was obviously unprecedented.
Yeah. And who is Banjin Tang Pakorn, former Thai deputy commerce minister? He is chief of crime suppression Mueang District Police Station in Kamphaeng Phet, police lieutenant colonel. And he was elected MP of now defunct Machima Thipatai Party in 2007. In 2010, he joined United Front for Democracy Against Dictatorship, or Red Shirt Group, and he was Deputy Commerce Minister in Samak and Somchai governments.
Yeah, the reason why the security for Banjin on that particular day, last Monday, was so tight was because of what transpired the previous few days that before. Police believed that Kun Banjin was plotting a blatant escape. So the police claimed that they discovered the plan after rearresting a suspect who had been released on bail thanks to Banjin's lawyer. And these ex-prisoners claim that he was approached by Kun Banjin to help plan a jailbreak, and which would include the abducting of the wife of the chief of the Bang Kwang prison.
Yeah. Some media reports said that the escape plot called for a bomb explosion to fail a flagpole that would allow Banjin to scale the wall and get away via helicopter. A scenario observer likened to a Hollywood action movie. However, the Crime Suppression Division, or CSD, said the actual escape plan was less grand, with Banjin to be free while his motorcade was on an expressway. The plot also called for the prison chief's wife to be kidnapped and used as a bargaining chip for Banjin's release, according to the CSD.
It's quite interesting that someone like Banjin, could have been alleged to try to commit such blatant offenses. For example, of course, Kun Banjin has already been sentenced to 6 years in jail for falsifying documents in a share transfer related to the murder of Kun Chu Wong Tang back in 2015. Kun Banjin was allegedly involved in that murder, but this still has to be proven in court. But then, as Kunatha mentioned, that the latest charge against Kun Banjin is that he plotted a plan to kidnap the wife of the prison chief as a bargaining chip to exchange for his escape from the jail. And then he is being tried on charges of kidnapping and murder of a judge who was involved in the hearing of his murder case against him. So if the charges were carry any weight, and then it only shows that how far that Kun Banjin would have wanted to go, to really free himself from this dilemma. But of course, these are all charges that need to be proven. And police claim that they have solid evidence to substantiate all these charges against him. So the police are planning to level new charges against him related to the alleged jailbreak plan and the plan to kidnap the wife of the prison chief.
Yeah. This year he is 56. He was born in Nakhon Sawan in July 1963, and Banjin was elected member of parliament for the province twice and became a party list MP once, all under the banner of political parties allied with former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. And he served as Deputy Commerce Minister twice in the government of Samak Suntharawet from February to September 2008, and of Somchai Wongsawat from September to December that year. So that's very Hollywood script of trying to
even the Prime Minister himself, Kun Prayut, was asked about the alleged jailbreak plan.
Yes.
And Kun Prayut said, well, it's hard to believe that was he talking about a movie plot or what? That was the Prime Minister's response to a reporter question about what Kun Banjin was alleged to have tried to do.
Yes, he can boast about anything, but finally he just has to be in prison anyway. And that's all that we keep you updated with Thailand's situation. And regarding COVID-19 and leaders at the world stage, right now spotlight is on Brazilian leader who refused to wear mask, and finally he was told by the judge that he has to wear it. And Kunat Wunak has this story for us. So he cannot refuse to wear mask anymore.
Not anymore, because the federal judge in Brazil has ordered the president Jair Bolsonaro to wear a mask in public. So whether he's going to public rallies or public areas, he must wear a mask, or else he will be fined up to 2,000 reals a day, so equivalent to 12,000 baht. So that's a lot. So 2,000 reals a day if he continues to disobey the order. So even the president has to wear a mask. And to keep it simple, no one is exempt from this order. So to curb the virus, everyone has to wear a mask.
I think it has less to do with the threat to impose fine on him in case he doesn't wear mask in public. I think it only shows that country leaders cannot escape from that kind of responsibility to set example by leading the way, right? By wearing masks. If you want people to follow these health safety measures, then you, as a leader, you need to show the way.
Especially,
to lead by example,
Definitely, especially the fact that he's the leader of a country with the worst outbreak in Latin America and the second worst in the world. So as the leader, he has to set an example for his citizens. If we all want to curb the virus in Brazil, everyone has to wear face masks. But to be honest, wearing face masks in public areas became a rule since the end of April, when there was a virus outbreak in Brazil, and even before that. But it was not until mid-May where the rule was further tightened with the fines, with the 2,000 reals a day fine. And like we said earlier, nobody is exempt from the order because it also applies to government employees in the federal district. Earlier this month, there has been a case where the former education minister was also fined for not wearing a mask in public. So everyone has to wear a mask, whether they're going to rallies or to public areas, they have to wear a mask, basically to protect themselves.
Well, but it reminds me of another world leader, President Trump.
Definitely.
He never wanted to wear mask in public anyway.
So there are similarities between President Bolsonaro in Brazil and President Trump. They've always been criticized for the way they downplay the situation, whether they've been calling the coronavirus as the little flu or whatever it is, as well as embracing the use of anti-malarial drugs to treat the coronavirus. Remember the hydroxychloroquine? We've been talking about the entire last month about it, whether it really cures the virus or whether it's clinically proven that it can really cure this. But apart from the mask issue, the Brazilian president has always been against the advice from public health experts on controlling the outbreak, and he has also criticized the orders on lockdowns as well as social distancing from governors and mayors, saying that the economic damage is much worse than the disease. And what is even worse is that Mr. Bolsonaro also fired 2 of his health ministers. One was because one of the people who he fired is that one was supporting the governor's restrictions on the social distancing and the lockdown, and the other for openly disagreeing with him over the hydroxychloroquine.
Sound very familiar.
Very familiar.
Yeah.
Sounds like a bit of a deja vu.
We are waiting for the first picture of the Brazilian president having a face mark on his face.
Yeah.
I think there is one image that he wore the mask already today after he has been ordered to do so, after he has never done it during the public rallies, meeting the people. And I guess everyone is all familiar with Bolsonaro meeting the supporters and talking to children without a face mask. And I think we all remember another scene where he was coughing.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Very risky indeed. And what's the latest situation in Brazil in terms of COVID-19?
So according to the health ministry in Brazil, the country saw around 39,436 new cases in the past 24 hours, as well as 1,374 new deaths from the virus. So far, the virus has killed more than 52,000 people and infected more than 1.1 million people in Brazil. And Brazil is the second country in the world with more than 50,000 deaths from the coronavirus.
So we have to see if the president become role model in terms of wearing mask, whether it will help the situation.
Hopefully, wearing the mask will set an example for citizens to protect themselves from the virus. So just wear a face mask, practice social distancing if we want to curb the virus very quickly, which in Thailand, we managed to control the situation, as well as the good news is that for almost a month, 1 month already, that we have no local transmission. So that's really good news for Thailand here. And maybe Brazil should look at us as an example.
Yeah, perhaps, probably many countries are looking at us. Thank you very much, Kunat.
Thank you.
So that's Kunat keep us updated with the situation in Brazil. And with the COVID-19, you can see that there is raising fund online, but there is some bad negative effect on this because online donation has been abused. So what's the story? Let's take a look.
During the coronavirus pandemic, food banks were established in many places throughout Thailand. They help those affected by the crisis and who are struggling to make ends meet. The concept of food sharing is also applied to social media, where recipients can ask for specific items they need. For example, formula milk, nappies, rice, tin food, or instant noodles. Then, philanthropic users will send the stuff directly to their homes. A Facebook group called Thai Forward was founded during the peak of the coronavirus pandemic in Thailand. Waran Yu and his university friends created it to help people in need.
คุยกันว่าคอนเซปต์ของกลุ่มก็คือ
No financial donations is the first concept of this Facebook group. Secondly, anyone can be a recipient, not just Thai people. Actually, our concept is quite broad as we welcome everyone affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. But they must have a Facebook account, be identifiable, be contactable, and have a phone number. That's all we need.
After the lockdown measures came into effect, there were as many as 1,000 posts per day. Many Facebook groups similar to Thai Forward can now be found on social media, which shows just how many people are in desperate need of help. There are not only genuine victims of the pandemic, but also some greedy people who fake their stories to arouse sympathy or to incite people into sending things to them.
ถ้าปัญหาที่เจอก็อย่างเรื่องมิจฉาชีพนะครับ
Scamming is one of the problems we found. They came to the group to plead for help. Although they were not actually suffering from the outbreak at all, there is, however, a scrutiny process by our group members, which is good, as some of them also joined similar Facebook groups. They spot those who were banned from all the groups and blow the whistle. Consequently, the site admin decided to screen every single post before approving it for publication.
Despite there are lots of scammers in online contribution groups, some donors see this method as useful because they can make donations to specific individuals.
Yeah, well, I like this channel because I think, well, it allows me to know the profile of each family. It allows me to know their circumstances, what they really needed, like maybe the formula of their baby milk. And well, I can just send them what they need. And I can calculate based on this information what would be enough for 3 weeks so that, they would have time to really think about how they would earn their living going forward instead of, worrying about how to feed their kids in the next 2 days. So, and this is the channel that allows me to do that, to also give peace of mind to people.
This lady is a big online donor. Over a month, she has sent countless items to more than 400 families and spent approximately 200,000 baht. Like other online donors, she has encountered scammers in the Facebook donation groups.
You know how people can have as many Facebook accounts as they want, and how people lie to get what they want? And this is exactly what's happening right now. When words got out that you can join one of these groups and say something like, I have to feed my baby with condensed milk, and the help pours in. And when people know that, everyone just want to join. So right now, I really can't tell anymore who's real and who's fake. Really, I have to be honest. So I quit the group that I was active, and I decided to join a smaller group which requires you to verify a lot of things that you said. You have to maybe take a photo of yourself in front of your house number. That way you can't use 10 Facebook accounts and pretend to be 10 people, Yeah, so I think that's the only way that, I can protect myself.
Despite being deceived by those scammers, she refuses to stop donating online. She said, knowing that people out there are really suffering because of the unprecedented crisis, she feels compelled to help them out, just like many other people in Thai society.
Well, because we do this in a Facebook group, so basically you see a lot of things that's going on in the group. You see a lot of people coming in to help, and if they have a lot, they would give a lot, but if they don't, if they have a little, they would just give whatever they have. And they would say, this is the only thing that I can help you, but I really hope that someone else will see your post and, help you more. And seeing these people, coming in to help, and they also have their own problems. They are affected too, but they have a heart to help. And I think this is really amazing.
This Friday, ASEAN leaders will be meeting, but will be meeting online. And what's the agenda that they are going to discuss, especially in the age of COVID-19? Right now, we have Khun Kavi Jongkit Thawon, veteran journalist on regional affairs. Sawadee Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So what are you looking forward to online meeting of ASEAN leaders?
Oh, this time is very important meeting because it's online, of course. And Vietnam is a big showcase because they will prepare for the post-COVID-19. So ASEAN has to get very serious. So there are some certain issues, certain priorities that ASEAN leader will tackle. Number one, I think, will be issue related to enhancing capacity of ASEAN member to counter the virus. So these priority will involve some sort of established network of experts so that ASEAN experts working on virus can get together in the future so that when this kind of emergency happen, they can get together fast. Because after the virus outbreak, ASEAN country has been exchanging information and best practices. So that is very good, but they have to prepare for the future. So they must set up a network and a pool of experts. So this is one priorities that they have to enhance the ASEAN member capacity. And there are also other areas in exchanging information because each country has its own system of receiving information. So there's some discussion that maybe in the future ASEAN have to set up focal point in each ASEAN country so that they can send information fast amongst member countries. So this is one of the priority. Number two, you have to help ASEAN people in trouble because there are a lot of ASEAN members who live in the third country. For example, what do you do if you are Thai living in a country without Thai mission or embassy? So you need ASEAN member to help you. For example, consular office of ASEAN member like the Philippines will have office in certain country or Indonesia. So you, the ASEAN leader must find ways so that they can help citizens of ASEAN country in the third country. So that is very good. And also they must find way to allow ASEAN member to travel again. So at the moment, ASEAN member only discuss about travel bubble with the country that have money, investment like ASEAN plus 3, Korea, Japan, and China. Nobody talk about ASEAN member yet. I think Singapore will raise this issue because Singapore would like to see each country set up some guideline, because of the levels of management against the virus. So these are the things that ASEAN will look at. This is a second priority, the so-called green lane. The third one is also very important because during the COVID, ASEAN countries suffer from socio-economic impact. So how can you reduce this kind of trouble for the future? So ASEAN must make sure that overall climate for trade is free, there's no tariff, there's no barrier for investment. That kind of thing is very important. So ASEAN leaders have to contemplate. Another issue,
lot to discuss.
Of course, another issue.
Mostly about COVID-19.
Yes, of course, this is a showcase for Vietnam because Vietnam so far has been very successful in combating COVID-19 and actually has made itself famous. So they want to make sure that ASEAN come up with a very good action plan. And I think the next priority also is equally important. We need help from dialogue partner. So ASEAN must have a very good common plan so that they can present to dialogue partners so that dialogue partner can contemplate and provide assistance. And of course, economic recovery plan in the future that ASEAN leader had to contemplate. I think ASEAN leader know how to attract foreign investment, how to attract local business, SME, to invest more, and that the linkage between ASEAN connectivity has to be revised. So I think these are the major, apart from other issues, there are other regional issues that ASEAN has to discuss, but the focus will be on COVID-19 and the post-ASEAN.
But looking back, Khun Kavi, how do you see the ASEAN countries cooperate in the fight against coronavirus? Was there any concerted, efforts among them in fighting the pandemic?
They were. I think they were at the official level, and I think now ASEAN leaders need to be more serious so that they can deepen their cooperation. For example, we're talking about setting up network of experts to collaborate on maybe future on research, to do something more on vaccine, and make sure that the information that you send is speedier, faster, because now you're dealing with fake news, disinformation. So ASEAN leaders for the first time are talking about, listen, we need to establish some focal points so we can exchange information and verify whether this is fake news or not, this is genuine. So they have to deepen the information exchange and the collaboration. And in the futures, I think there will be more activity related to cybersecurity, because we are moving to the digital technological world, and the use of IT and digital will feature very much in ASEAN connectivity. So I think ASEAN will have to deepen cooperation even more.
So there is a positive side to the pandemic, right? Making ASEAN seeing the need to strengthen their cooperation.
Oh, definitely, right? Definitely, especially on e-health, especially on emergency. And other thing is that they realize that sectoral body have to collaborate with one another. And I think this virus, this pandemic, really has encouraged ASEAN to move forward, to go beyond their own frontier. Because if your country is well alone, it's not enough. You need to make sure that the whole community of ASEAN are also in good health and also good care.
And what about the role of Thailand in ASEAN meeting this time? What should Thailand put as priority to push forward?
Interesting. Thailand has a big plan. Of course, Thailand Prime Minister Prayut has already offered, 10,000 test kits for all ASEAN members. But they have not yet delivered. Okay. Number two.
Big promise.
Number two is very important. Thailand realized that in order to combat with COVID-19 in the long term, you need rescue fund. So Thailand was the one who come up with the proposal to set up the COVID-19 rescue fund. Very good. So the leader have to approve the TOR. At this moment, senior officials are working on TOR because Thailand has proposed this a few weeks ago. Now several countries, dialogue partner, ASEAN is very good in attracting money from dialogue partner. Korea has already contributed 5 million. And China also, Japan is thinking about it. So the way the fund is working is that the Thai suggests that they should get some money from the Thailand, the so-called ASEAN Development Fund, take maybe 10%, so that we can use it for COVID-19 related project. But some other member countries said that, some certain priority has already been set. So you reprioritize, you have to change certain regulation. This is especially true for the funding that we receive from the so-called ASEAN Plus 3, Japan, Korea, and China. So these are the two things, and that Thailand playing a very big role. And also Thailand wants to support a special meeting between ASEAN leader and China so that they can discuss the COVID-19.
So that would boost up Thailand's position in ASEAN.
Yes, Thailand has always played very active role, leading role in ASEAN, not to mention last year, which was very important year for Thailand leadership, and Thailand continue to push forward the agenda of sustainable development and also strengthen cooperation with dialogue partner, which Vietnam has already taken up. You know, as you can see, Vietnam has a very good theme this year because Vietnam want to promote a cohesive and responsive ASEAN, which come at the right time because that's exactly what you need to deal with COVID-19.
But as far as you know, how keen is our Prime Minister on ASEAN? Does he attach great importance to the role that Thailand can play in the ASEAN?
Oh, definitely. There is one thing that you can say, nice thing. I repeat, nice thing about this Prime Minister, that he is very serious about ASEAN. Actually, he loves ASEAN. Actually, he knows that ASEAN is useful for Thailand. That is why last year, the ASEAN Summit has been very successful because Prime Minister followed the roadmap set for ASEAN very seriously. There's no misstep at all. And I think when the historian look back as the Thai chairmanship last year, they will have a good word to say about Prime Minister Prayut, you know, on various things, you know, especially try to promote Thailand collaboration with ASEAN, leave no one behind, that sort of thing. And also he's very forceful in pushing India to join the RCEP.
That's right.
You know, they have
try very hard.
Personal dialogue telephone. You know, he really pushed, and he also has a very good personal working level with other ASEAN leaders. You know, for example, he met with the National Security Council of America, who came here, discuss about ASEAN-US relation. So at that level, he has been quite effective. So I was so surprised indeed, you know, looking at him and realized that he was very serious about ASEAN.
What about his chemistry with some of the ASEAN leaders? Does he have any special relationship with some of them in particular?
I think he worked very well with most of the ASEAN leaders, with Vietnamese leader Nguyen Xuan Phuc. You know, they laugh together, they joke around when they pass over the baton, you know, to the next chairmanship. That kind of thing happen all the time. And if you know that during the summit, you know, when Thailand was chair, Prime Minister himself was able to stimulate discussion on his own, sometimes without the note from the foreign minister or from other senior official.
So you mean that his performance on the ASEAN stage has not been very bad?
Oh no, I will give him B+. Indeed, a lot of people, the problem with his performance in ASEAN, and very few people know because they lack publicity about him, and very few people write about ASEAN, I mean, you know, in general. So it's very difficult to focus on what he has done. And also at the time, Thailand has to encounter various domestic issues. Very few people focus on his role. I mean, besides me, which I watch him very carefully, he followed every step according to the roadmap designed by the ASEAN department step by step, and he read all the document. So that was very good indeed, actually.
It could be the fault of his publicists who haven't worked hard enough to try to portray him in that light that you just mentioned.
That's right. Because I think the government public relations office has not utilized this. You know, there are a lot of good things that happened last year, and his role in pushing for many ASEAN projects, which has not really highlighted. For example, Thailand was quite successful working with Indonesia in pushing the ASEAN Indo-Pacific concept, which I think should give full credit to Thailand and Indonesia, but very few people write about it.
This time it will be the first time that ASEAN Summit happened virtually. Do you think it will make it more special or less special?
Well, I think it's the substance that matters, because ASEAN will have the opportunity to meet later this year. So this time they would discuss very serious matter, which will be the action plan about the post-COVID-19 ASEAN. And as you know, documents-wise, there are only 10 documents that they will consider. The most important is the chairman's statement from Vietnam. And the second one will be the vision statement on the cohesive and responsive ASEAN, which Vietnam would be very proud to present its own vision of future ASEAN. So substantive-wise, I don't think it will be any less than previous summit. And I think they are waiting to meet each other later this year in November, face-to-face. So there will be a lot more to discuss. This time, it will be very business-like. So it's only 2 hours on Friday, start at 8:30 and end at 10:30 sharp. And this year,
That's very short by ASEAN standard, isn't
well,
it?
normally it's about 2 hours because this time senior official foreign minister have time to work among themselves. They don't have times for retreat, so senior official will do themselves.
Yeah. And what about the agenda that other agenda sensitive issue like South China Sea or other divisive issue among ASEAN will still be highlighted?
Of course, they will discuss. It depends on certain leader who want to discuss the issue of their concern, because this is the issue related to ASEAN. Any ASEAN leader can raise anything. So you have the Korean Peninsula, you have the decolonizations of North Korea, you have South China Sea, you have climate change, you have the ongoing trade war between China and the United States, and of course ASEAN leader will be very interested to find out what ASEAN colleagues think about the impact toward the overall economy of ASEAN, especially in the post-COVID-19, because ASEAN has to find way to respond to this global economic recession. And furthermore, I think there are other issues, for example, RCEP, what would be the future of RCEP, because all the members are planning to sign this year RCEP with or without India. So I think this will be one of the big issues. And then there are issues that related to ASEAN's activity program, but there will be one special activity about empowering women in the digital world. And I heard that New Zealand Prime Minister, popular Prime Minister,
Jacinda Ardern.
Jacinda Ardern will participate in online discussion during the session in the afternoon on Friday.
So that sounds striking.
Yeah. So on the issue of the coronavirus pandemic, has any of the ASEAN countries reacted to a demand by some of the countries in the West, the US and Australia especially, for an international inquiry into the origins of the virus in China?
As an institution, ASEAN have no position.
But individual countries?
Individual country, I think it depends on each member. ASEAN do not force anyone, And Thailand does not have any position actually, because Thailand support World Health Organization and always accept World Health Organization explanation. I think most of the ASEAN member do follow WHO analysis.
So we have something to look forward to. And how are you going to attend the meeting?
Well,
you just watch online?
We just, of course, we follow whatever that will come out after 6:30. There will be press conference. I think it will be exciting one, because for the first time, ASEAN has to show the world that ASEAN is really relevant after the crisis, that ASEAN has to be better, that ASEAN has to be more dynamic, to show the world, especially after each crisis, I hope.
And how has Vietnam been doing as a chair of ASEAN?
Oh, very serious. I think Vietnam has done a good job. Vietnam actually was the first one to lock down the country. They start early. This is why the Western world really applaud Vietnam government's very stringent program. Now Vietnamese citizens can enjoy everything like normal. They can go to soccer game without any mask, can do anything like normal life,
Yeah.
you know. So it's very unusual. While other ASEAN countries are still struggling with
Yeah.
lockdowns.
That's right.
Yeah, so opposite from Singapore.
And Indonesia.
Yeah. Okay, and thank you very much, Kun Kavi, for joining us. But please stay on with us because you will have to carry on with us for Thai version as well. And that's all from Thai PBS World Tonight. Now you know why it's really important for ASEAN leaders and for ASEAN population, more than 650 million for the whole region. So we have to stay put and stay tuned with the ASEAN Summit meeting this Friday. And that's all from Thai PBS World Tonight. But please stay tuned with us at 8 p.m. We'll be back for Thanlok with Thai PBS World. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
All right, see you tomorrow night.
When the world is in crisis
การแก้ไขปัญหาโควิดถือเป็นวาระแห่งชาติ
and people are looking for hope and answers, Thai PBS World is there with you with the best minds of the day. Join us on Thai PBS World Tonight, every weekdays at 7 p.m. Thai PBS World, we bring Thailand to the world.